The Salt Grows Heavy by Cassandra Khaw is probably the closest thing to a horror novel that I've actually read and enjoyed. This was a very loose kind of Little Mermaid fairy tale retelling, very loosely based on The Little Mermaid. Definitely the Hans Christian Andersen version, not the Disney version. And then it goes on from there, kind of after the Little Mermaid story has taken an interesting turn. The story goes on from there. It was very dark and brutal and violent and visceral, but it was also a really sweet love story. And it did some really cool things with gender. I thought that was just kind of like a background element to the story. I loved that one of the main characters was non-binary and it was never commented on. It was just a feature of who they were and it wasn't a big deal. It was just part of the story. Mostly the story was just this really dark, violent story. The main character is kind of objectively a terrible person, but you're also really rooting for her and you're trying to hope good things happen in the world, even though terrible, terrible things have happened and she has caused them and she has done terrible things. And it was just really interesting to follow a story about a character who seemed such a bad person. She's done bad things, but then is really working for good in the world and trying to fight other forces of evil. And it was also just so sweet at the same time that it was also like violent. So it was a really interesting book. It made me think a lot, and I think I'm going to have to look for more books by this author because it was just fascinating.